Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for being here. I think it's a very exciting moment. First ever fair for health administration graduates. Amazing. Thanks, Michael, for the introduction. Well, I heard a lot of good stuff about me, but what I can tell you is when I came here to Canada for good, I remember that day, March 4th, 2010, only 15 years ago. I was like all of you. I just came from the Middle East. I had a job there, or business there. I was pharmacist by graduation from Cairo, Egypt. Like, probably who's pharmacist here? Pharmacists. Okay, you probably graduate, you get your license right away, right? Not like Canada, you have to go through a licensing exam, right? Yeah. So I was a pharmacist by graduation, but I've never worked as a pharmacist. I worked in sales, marketing, business development in pharmaceutical companies. And when I came here, I had no money, I had no one to know in Canada. I had no family here, I was alone, I had no advice, and I wanted to just do what I wanted to do. I wanted to come here, find a job like exactly what I was doing before I come. But within the next month, things has changed. And today I'm here to help you by sharing my experiences about how to overcome the barriers in order to be able to be successful in Canada. And I can list the barriers in three main ones. Number one, and the biggest one, is culture. Number two is language, and number three is lack of Canadian experience. You will hear this all the time. Don't have Canadian experience. Okay, I think it's a big myth, and we will see now how can we can overcome this. The first, so I'm going to share with you a strategy. I call it the 3E. And please, I have here at least 100 people that are witnessing the trademark of this one. 3E. It's embrace, inquire, and engage. 3 E's, okay? And each one of them will tackle one of the barriers. So starting with the biggest one, which is embrace. Basically, it's clear, embracing the culture. But what are the things that we need to look at when we think or talk about the culture? I have a question for you. Who here is listening to CBC? I see like 5, 6, okay, 7. Okay, amazing. So CBC, as you know, is the National Broadcasting Service of Canada. And actually, I don't know if you know that, but the language spoken, the speed, are basically done to be able for everybody who's coming out from outside Canada to understand. They don't speak any dialect. It's a very neutral kind of English and very slow. So if you want to know where you live, what is going on, how life is going in Canada, my advice is listen to the CBC every day in the morning, or the National at 10 p.m. You get the whole thing, 1 hour. But it's very important. You know what's going on in the land that you live in, and also it will improve your English, for sure. So different things that are that you can see when we talk about culture. I'll say some of them: the dialects, the signs and symptoms and gestures, the kind of the ideas, beliefs, and norms and traditions in each culture, which is different from where we all come from. And I'll just give you a typical example about that. Stuff that you hear people like. I remember when I started working in the Middle East, and I went, and the doctor was an Indian doctor from India, and I started to talk, and I say yeah, and I was telling him, da, 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 do you agree? And he started to do like this, and I thought that he's saying no, but he was saying yes. This is yes, right? People from India, right? I thought it's no. And I kept repeating, and the guy got annoyed, like, why? This guy's stupid or what? Like, I'm agreeing with him, right? So these are the different little subtleties in the culture that you need to understand in order to embrace it and integrate faster into the Canadian culture. So 3, 4 things I would say that could help you with that. Number one is open-mindedness. And I think this is important. Don't get stubborn or stuck in a certain path. Like I'm a pharmacist, I work as a pharmacist, I want to come and work as a pharmacist here. Or even to make it harder, dentists or maybe physicians. I know so many physicians, international medical graduates, the situation right now is not in their favor. Hopefully it will change in the future. But right now, would you keep hitting your head in the wall and just trying to become a physician? Or would you rather go and find different alternatives? Keep that going, but have different other plans to go with. So open-mindedness is very important in your journey to succeed. The other thing as well is to appreciate cultural differences. Understand it, appreciate it, embrace it, but still keep your culture, ethics and values. That's definitely something we should all be, because that's what makes Canada rich, what makes the mosaic here is rich and the tapestry is rich. Okay? And the third thing is to be, as all Canadians, nice and positive and good in communication. This is really important. Be willing to accept, be willing to talk, be willing to take the chances. Okay? So I think those are 3 quick points for the culture. The second E, which is the inquire, and I think you are all here, and I think it's a good sign, because when I came here, nobody told me anything. There was no resources. So many resources were not like what we have right now. I think you are lucky to be in St. Lawrence College. There's all these programs. I heard a lot of stuff from Michael that I wish I heard when I came here in 2010 from some people. I didn't even know that there was a bridging program at U of T for international pharmacy graduates. I didn't even know. I had to look around and ask, and I find a course here, a course there, and then I discovered there's a program. After 3-4 months, I wasted in my point of view. Could have gone to that program faster. Okay, so you have lots of resources. You have also a lot of organizations in the community that also cater for you and for other kind of newcomers to the country and stuff like that. And I can tell you 2 at least, besides St. Lawrence College, that I witness on daily basis, which is basically Keys, and they do an amazing job, Keys people, and also Kingston Community Health Center, because my pharmacy is in the same class. So those organizations, and I'm sure everybody else here in the room is fantastic, because you are here, you are willing to come and talk to and see the chances with the international graduates. So thank you all for coming, and you guys need to please inquire, ask the right people. Take the information from the right source. When I was in Egypt, I cannot find a website to go to the government and get an information. In Canada, you can go to the government website, you can call all the governments, you can call any organization and ask a question. We don't have this luxury in our countries, we have it here, so use it. Okay? So that is the point number 2. And point number 3 is basically to engage. And what I mean by this is to basically can be open to create new kind of relationships, to know people more. And one of the key things about that is the language. And there are barriers with the language, using jargon, not being specific, literal translations. This is a funny one, okay? Because you will see people translating the stuff in their head, and you come up with a sentence and, okay, I don't know what it is. I'll tell you one very funny story. My wife is here, and thank you for filming me, and she's been like a big support for me to reach where I am here right now. And one time I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I said, "What's your good name?" And then after I hang up, she said, "What did you say? What's your good name? What does this mean?" I said, "That's what I learned." And when I was living in the Middle East, in India people, okay, you say, "What's your good name?" Right? Okay, but here it doesn't mean anything. It's just an addition. You need to remove the good, because you might confuse somebody. You say, "What's your good name?" I have a good name and a bad name. So she said, like, "What is this? I didn't get it." And I said, "Okay, thank you for letting me know. I never knew." And that was actually like 2-3 years ago, not even like 10 years ago. So there's so many things that we still do and we will still learn, okay? That requires that we engage and understand language. So the language, I tell you one thing I learned, don't be afraid of your accent. Speak, but speak slowly and clearly. And make sure that you are understood, okay? So this is the key. Doesn't matter if you have an accent or you don't have enough vocabulary, but as long as you're able to speak slowly and clearly, you'll be able to communicate and people will understand and appreciate. People in Canada are kind, and they love to hear and listen to every other people. They love to hear your stories, but you need to be slow and clear to be able to communicate that. The other thing I would say, active listening is very important, especially when we talk about the kind of the dialect that Canada speaks with. I remember we were talking to a couple of Nigerian friends. Somebody from Nigeria here? Yeah, yeah. If he speaks like a paragraph, probably you will not in English. It's perfect English, perfect accent, but probably half the words you will not understand. Why it is done this way? It's not his. It's the way that English is spoken in Nigeria, like India, and like Canada, and the US. Every country, UK, everybody has their own subtleties. So make sure that you listen very actively in order to understand what the other people are telling you. And also you can clarify by giving examples, which is another good way to kind of be good in explaining yourself. In closing, I just want to say that I believe in all of you. And I think all of you bring a unique perspective and set of experiences that can contribute to our community in a meaningful way. I know that all of you have what it takes to overcome the barriers that we spoke about to succeed. But just remember to embrace the culture, to inquire because you will never know until you ask, and to engage to build relationships that last. And thank you very much for listening.